I normally don't like to do any chart that has unverified or conflicting information, but this is Taylor Swift's information that Astro.com on the left came up with, and on the right, I've added some of the other things that I like to look at, but I thought it was super interesting how the planets lined up. Uh, the date of her birth, I don't think is with conflicted, but the time of birth will make things line up differently. So um, the time it might not be quite accurate. But if it is accurate, look at this. She's got all these planets right on her ascendant, conjunct her ascendant, and it's just very interesting to me that it's Capricorn, and Capricorn is um, ambition for status, money, and power. And so, using trite little uh, descriptions for each planet, it would show with, let me see if I can pick up this pin thing. It would show with Uranus is unusual, ingenious, and with Mercury rules communications, and with Saturn rules career, and with Neptune rules imagination. And then, so all those are working together for her career. And then, if you look down at the bottom, the house of entertainment, that's right here. And her Imam Quilly, I really like to look at that because that's what your innermost roots are. And Taurus, which is the ruler, that's the symbol for Taurus, is ruler of the voice, and that's from her innermost being. She is a Taurus, and her roots were using the sign that it rules the voice, and then it overlaps into her fifth house of entertainment right here. That's the cutoff between her fourth and fifth house. It goes in, Taurus goes into her house of creativity and entertainment, and it's ruled also by Gemini, which Gemini, it rules communications. And so those work together in her fifth house of Leo, the entertainer. And then her moon and Jupiter are opposite all those planets on the other side. And Jupiter rules far-reaching effect of philosophy, theology, religion, and so forth, and the moon conjuncted. And the moon is your emotions, and that's in Cancer. And I don't know if this time is right. It just seems kind of odd. But when you see that, I mean, it could be in the wrong place, lined up in the wrong place. I don't know. But anyway, the sign of Gemini also goes into that house, which is the sixth house of work, and that's communications again. And then she has Mars, which is your energy up to the left there. And it looks like it's in Scorpio, and Pluto is in Scorpio. So using again just uh, trite descriptions for the energies of the planets. Pluto is rules other people's money and sexuality, and it's in Scorpio, so a double, because Scorpio is ruled by that um, planet normally, and so double Scorpio sense of sexuality, and that's use of your, because that's the 10th house of her career, use of sexuality in your career. And then and see the 10 there, the 10th house. And also at the top of her chart, her midheaven would be her how she's perceived by in the public eye. And I didn't say that Mars here is also, this one's Mars, I'll redo it again. That's also rules sexuality and other people's money. So Pluto and Mars both rule money coming to you from outside sources. A lot of power over money coming to you from outside sources, and having it in her house of career. So that would be how she can use sexuality and to obtain money through outside sources. And then if you look over in the 8th house, which this is the 8th house, and this is it, but it has a portion of it ruled by Leo. This is a symbol for Leo, and Leo rules the 5th house of entertainment, which we spoke about, where Gemini and Taurus are voice and communications, and Leo is the entertainer, and so it rules a portion of that house, that Scorpio, that rules the other people's money. Having, the lineup might not be right if the time of birth is wrong, but having her feminine energy of daily tasks and organization and so forth is and also it's ruled by Mercury, which rules Gemini. That's often seen in musicians. The axis of Virgo, which I'm pointing out here, that rules the other part of her 8th house of obtaining other people's money and death, sex, inheritances, and so forth. But it's always opposite of Pisces, which Pisces is down here, which rules imagination, and that's in her house of money you obtain through your own resources. And then her North Node, which is down here in Aquarius, that's unusual and ingenious ways to obtain money through your own efforts. And here's Venus also in that. I can't tell if I think it's in Aquarius also, so ingenious ways of making your money, and that's the ruler of both Taurus and the way you make your money, the second house. So using your voice, because these two rule the voice. And beauty, Venus rules beauty also. So but those lines in the middle, that's crazy. Look at all that. But that's oppositions, which oppositions to her house of work with her moon and Jupiter. But like I say, it was unverified time. It might not line up quite exactly like that. Usually the bigger planets are in the same place, even if you have the wrong time of birth. But to get an accurate reading, you'd have to have um, an accurate time. Um, the thing I noticed on the other chart over on the right, the thing I noticed was Lilith, which is this um, dark, it's a dark sensual sense of shame, or it's taboo sexuality rules this dark sexual energy, but it's conjunct her midheaven, and like I say, it may not line up that way with the correct time, but anyway, that also is in that same house that also rules her outward identity. So perceived as very sensual, and along with the Pluto, which also rules sexuality, and Scorpio, which also rules sexuality, and that's all in the house of career. But anyway, I just thought I'd look at that. Thought it was interesting. The house of partnerships, which is here, where she has a descendant, that's the descendant that is opposite of the all of her ascendant planets, and this is just very strange, having Jupiter and the moon opposite, her emotions opposite, and her long distance and foreign communications having all those oppositions to her ascendant, to her career. It just seems wrong. But it seems like inaccurate. I didn't even mention her sun, which is in Sagittarius, a fire sign, impulsive, and it rules Jupiter. Jupiter rules it, and so it's in her house of the imagination and her creativity, the unconscious motivations, and so her unconscious motivations could be far-reaching, or use of the higher mind, or use of her philosophy for spiritual and divine connections. Some of it could be right. It could be right. The estimated time was eight something in the morning, 8:36 or something like that a.m. that they used for this calculation. But anyway, it's just my thoughts looking at her chart. Oh, there's something else. Down at the bottom, you see Aries in her house of communication, the third house. This is the house of communication. So use of the self in communications. So, and then of course that is ruled by Gemini. They both rule communications, that house, and it's in the house of entertainment. So yeah, I can see some connections there. Anyway, just I'm a hobbyist, and this is my hobby, and I thought it was interesting. Thanks for listening.